Now, here on the Jam, I tend to be a non-biased, non-partisan show. So when it comes to stories that involve the President Duterte, I try and stay right in the middle. But you have to admit, whether you love him or you hate him, he's one of the most entertaining presidents in the world. And this week, he was actually named as a possible Times 100 most influential people in the world. And, you know, I love a good Duterte tirade just as good as anybody else. It can be a lot of fun to listen to. And you can almost feel, I guess, when it's coming. It just takes a little bit of criticism on a subject that the president thinks that you shouldn't be criticizing about. And he'll unleash a barrage of dirty words and how you need to mind your own business. Well, just recently, the European Union, of all the worldly unions, has decided to use the Philippines as an example as to how they think a country should behave. They think the Philippines should immediately release Senator De Lima. They have described her as a political prisoner that has been jailed because she has spoken out against the president and one of his fiercest critics. They have raised numerous concerns about the 8,000 killings that have happened since he has taken office and the continuing disregard for law and basic human rights. In a statement before the 34th session in the Council in Geneva, Switzerland, a spokesman said, "The EU reiterates the importance of implementing the fight against drug-related crimes in accordance with the law and in the respect of human rights. This must include the right to due process and safeguarding the right of life, as well as the respect of a proportionality principle." They have taken up the issues of the death penalty and how the Philippines should reconsider bringing it back, and also, reconsider not bringing it back. And also, there is no substantial reason that it should be brought back in the first place, because we could all expect more of killing of the poor and the underprivileged. They go on to say restoring capital punishment might prompt the wealthy bloc of European nations to withdraw the trade perks it currently grants the Philippines. Now, kind of going off script here a little bit, it's like, should my neighbor who has a nicer house or more money than me and helps me out sometimes because he's able to come in my house, should he be able to tell me that I should stop eating with my hands and start eating with a fork? I mean, eating with my hands works for me. It may be a little messy. I may drop a little food on the floor and my hands may be a little dirty. But in the end, isn't it my house? And this is the way I know how to eat. Maybe one day I'll eat with a fork, but for now, this is the way I'm doing it. I appreciate all you've done for me. I really have. But that doesn't mean you can tell me how to eat. Now, Duterte did exactly what we expect he would do. He voiced his opinion. I think what we'll do is, I'm going to read some of Duterte's statements, but instead of the dirty words, I'm just going to say cantaloupe. When the European Union said that the political prisoner, Senator De Lima, should be released, Duterte called the members of the European Parliament naive and foolish. The EU is calling for her release because she's supposedly a political prisoner? Son of a cantaloupe. He goes on to say, I'm the one you want to jail. Fools. Sons of cantaloupes. These cantaloupes. In regards to the death penalty and the extrajudicial killings, Duterte says, do not impose your culture or your belief in what would be a government on this planet. Do not impose on other countries, especially us. There is death penalty in Indonesia. There is death penalty in Malaysia. And I'm trying to revive it in the Philippines. As if other countries of EU do not have the death penalty, he goes on, why are you trying to impose on us? Why don't you mind your own business? Why do I have to cantaloupe with us? Now, I don't know what he's talking about in regard to the EU. I think only Belarus still has the death penalty. However, it is true that Indonesia and Malaysia have the death penalty. Also Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand. The US still has the death penalty. President Duterte on Monday lashed out at the United States and the European Union. He used the word hypocrisy when it comes to the issue of the death penalty. The Duterte government has been warned of various economic repercussions from the US and the EU if the Philippines reimposes the death penalty. The president, however, was unfazed by the threats from the EU, which grants the Philippines trade perks on the condition that the Philippines respects human rights. The revival of the death penalty is seen now to put in jeopardy some of these perks. The question, though, is not whether, let's say, Senator De Lima is a political prisoner. I mean, if she didn't stand up against Duterte, would she be in all this hot water now? Probably not. The issue is not whether the death penalty will be the new legal way to kill people, especially people who can't afford a good defense. And it's not whether the president is behind the extrajudicial killings. The issue here is, should the EU be trying to influence policy in the Philippines? Should they be the parent teaching the child, the Philippines, right from wrong? I mean, threaten to take away its supper if it doesn't act right, making it stand in the corner if it doesn't do what it's told. Is the Philippines less of a country because it doesn't have the money and the military of Germany or France? Should Duterte back off some with the cursing because it could cost the Philippines billions in aid? Should the Philippines become a member of the EU? How much sense does that make? Or should the Philippines learn to stand on its own? Maybe it's making some mistakes. Maybe some of its policies are not the best ideas. But maybe that's a mistake that the Philippines has a right to make as its own country. If you make an investment in a company and it's an investment in which you hope for a good return, it doesn't make you an officer of the company. You can give advice and you can go out to dinner with them, but you're just an investor. You can't force the company to eat with a fork. Eating with your hands may be sloppy, but it works pretty good for some. This is Eric LeCain on The Jam. Thank you very much for spending your Sunday evening with us here at DZRJ Radio.